Hello and welcome to HealthyHouseplants.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. If you'd like to support our show, please use our Amazon affiliate link below. Today we are checking in with some pressed houseplant foliage and flowers that we did a month ago. So usually it's about a month is a good amount of time to leave your houseplant foliage and flowers in the press. I decided to put a brick on it to keep it down, so that's a really good option, nice and heavy. So today I'm going to reveal what the foliage and flowers look like. This plant here was the flower that we're going to be looking at in a minute, the African violet flower. And here's another little pretty one that is nice. I did want to show you the difference here. This one is it's a double flower because it has flowers within the flowers themselves. And this is, as you can see, a flatter African violet flower. So it's better, you can still do these, but the flatter ones do work better. This is also another ruffled one. They'll call them ruffled. This one would have the same issue as it's has a lot more going on. So when you press it, it doesn't always look like a flower when you're done. So just something to keep in mind when you're choosing your flowers and foliage. Okay, so here's the big reveal. I haven't looked at this since I pressed them when we did the video a month ago, so we are going to see what they look like. Okay, so I'm going to carefully do this because you never know what it's going to look like. Okay, so remembering that we put them in these coffee filters. So at this point we're going to see how they're doing. So this was actually a coffee filter that was on the end of one, just to keep. Now this was the Maidenhair Fern foliage. So you have to be very careful with these, taking it out. So you can see this is really lovely. It is looking like it is dry, and it's still has a really nice color to it. So as I mentioned before, you just never know when you do this what the colors are going to look like when you're done. So it's actually very fun because you put them in looking a certain way and you take them out and they look completely different, or they may look very much the same. So as you can see, this pretty Maidenhair Fern is pretty much the same. Okay, so let's see what else we've got here. This one was another one. This was a Parlor Palm. Taking this guy out here. And once again, looking pretty much the same as it did before. So this one appears to be, this one is a thicker leaf. I'm actually going to put this one back in for another month because it still looks to me like it still has some moisture in the leaves. The leaves feel very dry, but they, just by looking at it, some of the thicker leaves look to me like they could be a little moist. You want to dry them as much as you feel that is necessary initially, because once you take them out and start using them, if they do have some moisture, they can continue to dry and not be flat, or they could curl, things like that, and discolor strangely because they're in light. So this one I'm going to put it back in, but I think as mentioned, the Maidenhair Fern is good to go. And as I mentioned in the prior video, there's all kinds of cool things you can do with the pressed flowers once you have them. I've made clocks with them, decorated clocks with them, and lampshades, bookmarks, placemats, all kinds of cool things. Okay, so this is going to go back in. Now we're going to see what the next thing is. This was an arrowhead leaf. Now this is a really good example of how different it can look once it dries. You will see that this turned to a pretty much a taupe color, a very light brown color, and this is actually I'm going to take a leaf, very similar leaf off of this arrowhead vine here to show you. This is what it looked like, and I had taken off. I can press this one now. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and press another one. This one, this is what it looked like. So you can see much different look to that leaf. So this is where, like I said, the fun comes, where you just have no idea how a leaf or a flower is going to look after it's been pressed and dried. This guy is nice and dry, so I'm going to keep him out, and I'm going to put this one back in. You can mix and match in here. They're separated as long as you don't have them on top of each other or something, which you wouldn't want to do anyway. So I can put this one in along with the palm for some more time, and check them back with both of them in a month. And this one was a month ago, so these will be done at that same time. Okay, last but not least is this from this really pretty African violet, and it is an African violet flower. Another example of how things can get a lot different looking when you're done. You want to be really careful with these. They shatter very easily when they're dry. You can use tweezers as long as the tweezers are not too sharp, or they might puncture them. Okay, here you go. There is the African violet. I'm going to take off this African violet, and I will go ahead and put this one in again dry this one as well. You can see what this African violet originally looked like and how it looks now. So you can see very different colorations here, and it's very lovely, and you see it's nice and pressed down too, so that gives you a good idea. Now I can do other colors of African violets, and I will get completely different results in terms of how the color changes. Some colors don't change as much, other colors change quite a bit. Some colors turn completely different, as you saw with the arrowhead vine. So that is my nice collection here, and put them all together except for the palm, which I already put away. You can see how pretty these are. So you can use tweezers. Sometimes it's advisable if you can get the plant to come to stay on the tweezer. Okay, so here you go. Here's some the really nice results of what we dried already. These can be definitely used for various art projects, and I will do a video in the future once I have more things dried here to decorate something, to show you how to do that and how to apply it and what to cover it with to protect it, so it stays nice and the colors stay nice and as vibrant as they are when they're dried. So that is it for this. As mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and put this guy in, and this guy in as well. Close this back up. Don't need these because they've been used them last time. You want to tighten it as much as possible with big rubber bands, something along those lines, as I mentioned in the prior video, so that it stays nice and tight, as airtight as possible. This rubber band works a little better. Some air will get in there. Obviously it needs to get in there in order for it to dry, but very little. And then I will be putting the brick back on top and storing this in an out of the way area as it dries. So that does it for that. And then these, I will be storing them. It's best to put them in, in paper. They can even be stored in the filters if you want, and put them, or in an envelope and somewhere where they're gonna lay flat, and put them in a dark location until you're ready to use them. Once you use them, providing you seal them, they will retain the same color over time. So that is it for pressed flowers. Part 2, we'll be checking in again on these, and we will when we make ourselves something. Thank you for stopping by today. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And please check the bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos are released.